evening, friends and neighbors. Or shall I say this afternoon?
Welcome back to the Denver Broncos franchise on Madden 22. I'm your host, longtime listener. Be sure to drop a like, hit the subscribe button, and comment below. So we are sitting here ready to basically jump into week one action in the 2026 regular season. And basically, what's gone on over the last couple weeks in my personal life is just bonkers. So I don't know if I talked about this much in any of the previous episodes because it's been a while since I've been able to do any recording. Bottom line, I got a promotion. However, I'm working right now as a account executive, and I'm technically covering what should be two territories. So I've been busy with that to begin with, but then just got promoted to where I will be the national sales director. Um, and so that's awesome, except we still need to hire somebody to take my current spot. So I am at the moment sort of carrying two bags doing both jobs. And when you factor in the fact that my territory was already bigger than it needed to be in the first place, I've just been super overwhelmed with work. I actually started recording this episode, went through all of the the season goals and all of that stuff, started playing the game, and it's just been disastrous trying to get any of this recording done. And my intention was to just do one more season. And so, what I think we're actually going to do instead is we just won the Super Bowl. I'm going to just simulate this season, and this will be our final episode. And then what we'll do is just kind of recap with sim to the Super Bowl. So the bottom line is it's just been too crazy for me over these last few weeks to try and kind of stay emotionally invested in this series. And it kind of sucks because this team has gotten to where we've got some really good players, some superstars in the making with Brett Morris having an outstanding year last year. Luke Burke, I think, could be a really exciting player for a while. James Webster, Javonte Williams still has a few good years left in him. Jerry Jeudy was turning into a stud. Our offensive line was really good. Our defensive line had some playmaker. We're just we're a really good football team right now. I think we have a chance to repeat, but it's it's just going to be a little bit too much for me. And so what I'm kind of hoping for those of you who follow the channel in general is that we can maybe pick up another franchise series whenever MLB The Show is released, which isn't for about a month. I think that the release date is set for April 5th. So my hope is that over the next few weeks I can kind of get my feet under me work-wise and get back to doing a little bit more recording of content. But this will give me a chance to kind of recharge the batteries a little bit because frankly, trying to get episodes of this stuff posted plus do my job is a little bit taxing. I've got kids and I'm busy, so it was a lot, but I was able to manage it. But now with the workload having increased, it's just too much. So my hope is that starting in April, I can really start to focus on my new role and not so much doing the sales side of things and just doing the director instead. But we'll see. The bottom line is I'm just too busy right now to try and do all this stuff. So my schedule is just crazy. But it's been a fun series. Like I said, we'll get through this season here. We'll take a look at the stats for this year, so the final results in the postseason or whatever, and then we'll look at some trying to think if there's any way that we can kind of look at career stats maybe for some of these guys. What I would probably have to do, what I wouldn't mind seeing is like what kind of numbers does Brett Morris put up over his career? But to do that, you know, obviously we're not going to sit here and watch the simulation process, but what I could do is simulate a bunch of seasons off screen until he retires or whatever. That's a lot of work though, because I would have to be going in and doing all of the re-sign. Like, I'm not even doing the mid-season contract extensions, so those are all just kind of being left behind. And so it's a pretty involved process and would take me a long time to do that, and I just don't have the bandwidth. So, all right, we are in the last week of the regular season there. Now it's wild card weekend, and then the divisional round, and then the conference championships. Then it'll be Pro Bowl and Super Bowl, and then we'll get a look at what all went down this year. Wouldn't it be something if this team can repeat without me having anything to do with it? Wouldn't it? All right, so we went 6-11, guys. We went 6-11. Holy mother of Pete! How were we that bad? I don't think there's any reason to look at yearly awards. We might as well, just in case one of our guys did actually do well, but it's highly unlikely considering our team went 6-11. Joe Mixon was the MVP. Coach of the Year, Fred Addison. Why is it that the Jaguars always get the Coach of the Year? What's up with that? All right, let's go to the AFC. So, Offensive Player of the Year, Joe Mixon. We don't even have anybody in the top 10. Defensive Player of the Year. How about Khalil Mack getting it done at like age 36 or whatever he is now? Heck yeah. Atta boy. Offensive Rookie of the Year, nothing. Defensive Rookie of the Year. There's Juan Hazelton. So he must have done okay. Best QB. So Brett Morris must have been terrible. We'll go back and look at it. Mixon, best running back. Javonte Williams was 10th. Best wideout. Jeez, nobody. Best offensive lineman, nobody. James Webster, 3rd for best defensive lineman. Best linebacker, Khalil Mack. And best DB, nobody. I mean, we didn't even get a kicker in the top 10, guys. So can we actually look at the regular season stats now that we've gone through the postseason, or did I screw that up? Stats. I want to look at player stats. Okay, so we can see them. So 21 touchdowns is not very good. 15 interceptions is not very good. He threw for 4,300 yards, which is more than we normally do. Completion percentage was okay. That QB rating is just not very good. He was sacked 41 times, which isn't terrible, but he obviously was not very good this year. Javonte Williams was solid. He had 2 fumbles, but 19 touchdowns, over 1,000 yards, over 1,100 yards. Stevenson didn't do a lot, 500 yards. I mean, that's not terrible, but 4 yards a carry is a little bit disappointing. Jerry Jeudy had a decent year, but just 5 touchdowns. Noah Fant over 1,000 yards and 7 touchdowns. Cortland Sutton putting up a bunch of yards, but no touchdowns. That's like the opposite of what he had been doing for us. Marshall was okay. Stevenson didn't do a whole lot receiving. Alberto, not much. Where is Look at this. Daquan Burgess didn't have a single catch all season. He only played 4 downs. Oh, it's because Sergio Francois was getting all the action, and he didn't even have a single catch. Jeez. All right, tackles. Khalil Mack led the team in tackles. Like, Luke Burke did not do a whole lot this year. Nor did Will McPherson. So, I mean, you look at tackles for loss, and McPherson had 6. Burke had 1. Jeez. So, 16 sacks for Mack, 13.5 for Webster. Draymond Jones, a little bit of a down year compared to what he had been doing. But we kind of saw that coming. Spencer Johnston didn't do much. Bradley Chubb, 2.5 sacks. I wonder if he missed a bunch of time with an injury or what that's about. Interceptions. We had 7 interceptions as a team. That's atrocious. He was terrible. 13 of 18. Now, one of them was blocked, but the guy missed 2 extra points, too. Those were both blocked. It's funny how that never happens in a game that you're playing, but it happens when you simulate. And then we don't really care about punting. So bottom line, this team was just not very good this year. Kind of disappointing way to end things. But, you know, I guess we weren't expecting anything outrageous. Let's at least see who wins the Super Bowl. It's the Bears and the Ravens. Which is interesting. But, you know, when you're 5-6 years into the future, it's kind of hard to project exactly what's going to shake loose in the league. The Bears beat them 30-24. So, you know, it's a sad way for us to end this series. And again, like, my apologies for sort of blindsiding you with a swift end to the franchise. But we went through 5 full seasons, won a Super Bowl, and I really kind of consider that where we ended things, because this one, we just simulated this season just so I had some stuff to talk about to kind of wrap up the series. But, you know, if I had it to do over again, I would have just won the Super Bowl and wrapped it up right then. But this stuff with my job unfolded really quickly, and sort of, you know, it was sort of a surprise. I was actually going to leave the company and go work somewhere else, and then where I currently work, like, they just scrambled the jets and came up with a crazy offer to get me to stay. And part of that was the promotion to a sales director role, but at the same time, like, they don't have anybody to do the job right now that I'm doing. So I kind of have to do both for a while, and it's going to be rough. So, but the financial package that came with it was pretty hard to argue with. So here we are. But I don't really have a whole lot else to cover in this one, guys. So I appreciate everybody watching. It's been a good run, and that'll do it. So if you have not done so already, please be sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, comment below, and we will see y'all next time.
Good evening, friend and neighbor. Or shall I say this afternoon?